Good afternoon and welcome to our session for today. Our session is going to be dealing with one-page strategy. I know that for some organizations, they have started doing their strategic plans for 2024. And we thought probably this would be a good time as some of you will be preparing your strategic plans for next year. This would be a good time for you to refine that plan and see if you can't compress it into a one-page strategy. And this afternoon, we will allow a few questions if possible, but if we find that the session is taking longer than an hour, you are most welcome to contact us and we can take you through some of the concepts that we will be talking about. So as I've indicated, this is one of our sessions on building business value. This is our last webinar for 2023, and we are going to start again with the 2024 webinars in January. So why do we need a strategy? It is said that for your business to grow, you need to have a strategy that will allow you to drive growth and succeed. And at MMCP, we are about building, advising businesses that will be sustainable, that are scalable, and that are sellable. As business owners, we go into business to create value, and you realize that value when you sell or when you transfer ownership. So that is what we do. Those who don't know me, those that are joining us for the first time, I'm Ntabiseng Maidi. I'm the founder and principal director of MMCP Advisors. I'm a CA, SA. I hold an LLB, and I've also done a management development program on BEE law. And now recently, I also did the executive leadership program with Wits Business School. I'm a international certified value builder coach and currently managing 2 businesses. And my experience is I've been a non-executive director for listed and unlisted companies, and I sat on audit committees and transformation committees, remuneration committees. And I've also managed an investment, a private equity fund. And in my capacity as principal director within MMCP, from time to time, I hold outsourced CFO positions for companies that cannot afford a full-time CFO. So that's basically my background. And in terms of why do we need a strategic plan? Strategic plan gives us direction. But what we have seen, and those that have been in business or in corporate, you'd usually go on a full day session where you are developing a strategic plan. And most of the time, the strategic plan would be close to 15 pages. It will be a big document to an extent that most of the time you take that document, you put it in your drawer, and no one can actually understand what that document is all about. And the next time you open it is when you do your strategic plan review after 6 months. So here what we're trying to do is we say, let's help you with a tool that will assist you to communicate the strategic directions of your business. And that we call an one-page strategic plan. And you will also notice that our view is a strategic plan needs to be shared. It's not a document that is kept by executives in their drawers or in their cupboards, but it needs to be cascaded down to everyone within the business. And what it does is it helps the team remembers why they are doing what they are doing or why the company is doing what it's doing. So, and we all know that there is power in simplicity. Most of the time when you get a strategic plan, it's written in bombastic words, and some of the concepts you also don't understand. Hence, you find some entities will fail because of a strategic plan that has not been articulated properly, or it is too complex. So we advocate for a simple strategic plan. In that way, it keeps your team engaged with your strategy, because this strategic plan, the one-page plan, we saying that let everyone in your business see it. It is said that the more you see something, when you visualize something, you remember it and it's easy for you to implement. So the one-pager will form as a visual reminder for your team as to what your goals are. And it is a quick overview of your organization's core purpose, where you are going, and how are you intending to get there. Some people would say, is it possible for you to get it on one page? Yes, it is possible for you to do it on one page. For those that are still struggling with how to develop your strategic plan, just a few concepts that are, or a simplified way of how you can actually put your mission, your vision, and that, because the mission and your vision are the pillars or the foundation of your strategic plan. First of all, in terms of your mission, you need to understand what is your purpose and why do we exist. There's an author, Simon Sinek. He wrote a book on why. You need to understand your why. So your mission would be, why do you exist and why do you do what you're doing? And in short it describes your organization's purpose and the reason why you exist. There are some people who go into business as a last resort without a thought process or a solution that they want to offer to their clients. So I think if you have gotten into business without you understanding why you are in business, you need to go back. For you to build a sustainable business and a growing business, you need to go back and look at what is your mission. The next one is, where are we going? I usually say to people, it should be a headline of the newspapers in the next 5 to 10 years, where your vision statement will define your future state, or where you want to see yourself in future, and the direction for the organization in terms of where you want to go. That is, in simple terms, how you can actually do your mission and vision. Here I went on, I looked at the mission for Tesla and Walt Disney. Some would say your mission has to be as short as possible. Some would say that it has to be long. It really doesn't matter. It has to indicate why you live or why you are doing what you are doing. Tesla says they want to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. They are into sustainable energy. They have identified a niche market where they want to operate or what they want to do or contribute in society. Some time ago, I read a book by the founder of Nike, and in his book he says he wants to inspire every athlete. So, and when you look at the mission for Nike, it says our purpose is to move the world forward through the power of sports, breaking barriers, building community, and to change the game for all. If you have a body, you are an athlete. That is probably 2-3 sentences, but it still gives a good idea of what their mission is all about. Next is when you have already done your mission and vision, your team needs to understand what your core values are. Because core values are what brings us together. What our philosophy is, what are we working together to achieve? How are we going to behave to actually make sure that we achieve our goals and we realize our vision? You'll find that you can have 2-3 people with different, can I say, personalities, but when they come into business, because they understand the bigger purpose of the business, you'll find that they adapt because they are working on the business philosophies. So what these values are, they will shape your company culture. They will promote cohesion between the team and cooperation. And some time ago when I was still employed, I remember having a consultant come through to our company, and as we were doing the values, difficult, like unexplainable words would usually pop up, and most of the time we wouldn't even follow that. And until I attended a workshop with an organization, the Entrepreneurs Organization, whereby when you look at their values, it's only 4 values, and their values were very strange. And they were talking about having fun or being excited. And I was like, what kind of a value is this where you just have fun? And after a while, I realized that depending on the industry or the environment that you are in, you need to choose values that talk to your environment. Here, this is just one example of one of the companies that I came through, where they are talking about discovery. They want to discover new things. They want to be innovative. They want to have an impact. They want inclusivity for their teams. They just want to have fun. Just imagine if you are in the creatives industry. Most of the time, those guys are not like accountants wears a tie and a jacket all the time. So they're more relaxed, and that could be one of their values, that we want to be relaxed so that we can have fun as we create our values. So those are the things that you need to be aware of. And gone are the days where you will go and say, oh, my values is integrity and trustworthiness and professionalism. Yes, accountants are doing those, and trust. It's a requirement for their industry. But can you go and put in trust, and where you are in an environment where trust is actually low on the value, because the most important thing there is, are you having fun? Are you having an impact in the things that you are doing? So some of the elements that you need to be aware of when you craft your values is they need to be as clear and concise as possible. There's a list that I've gone through where there's 150 or so values. And I remember some company that I once consulted with, and we were co-presenting in terms of their strategic plan. And the consultant that was doing the section for values, the company had 12 values. And I was like, are they going to remember each and every one of them? For them, I found them to be too much for the environment. So they need to be brief and memorable. Because remember, this is how you as an employee is living, or how you are going to behave. The next one is they need to be action orientated. You can't just put a value and you don't have an action. So it's more of a doing word. They should be reflective from time to time and adaptable, depending on the environment that you are. So those are the values. The next one is your value proposition. As we go into business, you need to understand, what problem are you solving for who? And that is your unique selling proposition. And it provides a competitive advantage for you. It's not just a catchy slogan or a tagline, but it has to communicate what your strategic goals are, and also the benefit for your customer. You cannot go and come up with a value proposition without understanding who your customers are, what solution are you bringing to, or what problem are you dealing with for your client, as well as how is your client going to benefit, or how are you competing, or what is your standing in comparison to your competitors. You cannot say you've got a unique selling proposition if you are doing exactly the same thing as your neighbor, and you are also not giving your clients something on top of what your neighbor or your competitor is doing. So you need to answer the question why you have actually chosen the target market that you are in, and what are they going to benefit from you. Lastly, to craft a value proposition that will work for your business, you need, as I indicated, you need to first identify your target market. What are their needs? What are their goals? What are their wants? And in that way, you will come up with some sort of a tagline or a concept of what your value proposition is all about. It's not just a brand or it's a tagline, but it's how you communicate to your customers on what they can gain from doing business with you. So here I'm going to talk about some the goals and objectives. And one question that usually arises when I talk to people, it says, I've got 15 goals, or I've got 10 goals, or I've got 20 goals. How do I actually work on those goals or on those objectives? What you have to do is you need to look at a framework. There's different frameworks that are out there. that can help you to refine your goals. Because you can't just have five financial goals or five strategic goals or objectives. So what you can do is you can use the balance scorecard as your framework. And in the balance scorecard, you go and you indicate, what is my goal in terms of financial perspective? What is my goal in terms of customers? What is my goal in terms of people? What is my goal in terms of the internal business processes or the operations? In that way, you have covered a spectrum, a wide spectrum of the business imperatives. So, or aspects of a business that are important as well. So the business scorecard can be one of your frameworks. There's quite a few frameworks that you can do. So it's important that you know your goals and everyone in your entity knows what the company goals are and what the company objectives are. Next, after doing your goals and objectives, you need to understand what are the initiatives that you are going to implement to reach those goals. Because you cannot just have goals and not even have an action plan as to how you are going to achieve those goals. So you need to have initiatives. So let's say you say one of our objectives is to raise funding. So what are the also raise funding or have cash flows, enough cash flows to run your business. One of the initiatives would be to raise funding for your business or to increase your revenue, to increase sales, to reduce costs. And when you've got initiatives, we need to have key performance indicators. And the key performance indicators says, let's measure those initiatives that we have. And this KPIs, we can have you can have them either as numbers or as so you need to have some form of a metrics that you can utilize. Say, let's look at sales again. Want to increase sales by 20%. In terms of customers, remember in the balance scorecard, I spoke about customer perspective. You'd say you want 100% retention of your customers. In terms of, let's look at processes. You say you want to reduce your downtime time by 10%. This would be quite good for Eskom to have that as one of the KPIs, that they would like to have some of the processes there improved. Lastly, what could be one of the KPIs in terms of employees? We want to train 5 or 10 employees. We want to have learnerships, or so each and every one can have a KPI. So those are in brief. You can see that I didn't even spend 35 minutes to talk about the entire strategy of the business. So here, what I have here is a process that you can follow. Let me also indicate that the process of doing this, yes, can take a day or a few hours, but in terms of the final document, because at the back of this, you are going to have quite a few things that you actually work on to produce this final document. So the first step, which is the foundation of strategy and the attributes, is your vision, your mission, and your core values. That is the foundation of what you are doing. Then you are going to come and say, what is our strategy as a business? Whether it's and most of the time it has to be between 3 to 5 years. This is our strategy. Let's say you are in the trucking business and you say your strategy is to have 20 trucks in the next 5 years on the road, or you want to service a few manufacturers in a specific industry in 5 years. That is going to be your strategy. That is number 2. The next one is, what is your strategy description in terms of goals for this year, in terms of the priorities, in terms of the initiatives that you are going to do, and then in terms of the KPIs? Let's take, in terms of your strategy, let's say you have got strategic goals 3 to 5 years. Let's say you have got 6. Out of the 6, identify which ones are a priority. And that's the one that you are going to be working with. Probably you've got priorities. You've got 3 of them as the priorities for the current year. Then what you do is, now that I've identified my priorities, what are the goals for this year? So you take that bigger goal, you break it down into small chunks, which is a goal for this year. Just for this year. Don't focus on year 2, 3, because that is already formulated under step 2. Then you come up with initiatives. What am I going to do to achieve my goals? Next is, how am I going to measure myself? Here you are going to have leading metrics as well as lagging. The lagging is, what should I have achieved for me to get to what I'm trying to do here. The next thing is that step 4, my apologies for the typo there. Step 4 is that gone are the days where the strategy is kept in drawers. I've indicated that below initially. So what you do is, if you have got different divisions within your organization, you take that strategy, you cascade it downwards in terms of, for this division, this is going to be your strategy. For this division, this is going to be your strategy. So your strategy has to be cascaded down in the organization so that everyone knows and understands what the business is working towards. Lastly, we don't just do a strategy and not implement it. You need to implement your strategy. And how you implement it is, you make sure that the strategic description, or the priorities as you have them there, and the initiatives, forms part of your weekly or daily or monthly reporting activities. You need to track them. If there is an ExCo that meets on a monthly basis, you need to report on those. One of the principles that Rockefeller introduced was the habits, the Rockefeller habits, where he says that you need to create a habit of aligning your actions to your strategy. And how you align that is, at your meetings, you have almost like a framework as to how are you going to track your performance against your strategy, and how are you going to report it. This, again, you don't need to have it as a 15-page document or as a 10-page document. Earlier on this morning, I attended a board meeting with one of the entities that I'm a director at, which is DB Schenker. And the CEO gave us a report on the strategy, on the performance of a business in 4 slides. 4 slides. And what they did exactly what you see here, where the first one was on financial performance, or the second one was on IT technology, because they've identified IT as a priority for this year in terms of their internal processes. Spoke about people, how many interns came through, how many people did they employ, how many left the company. So that is how we actually track the performance of the business and do reporting. Lastly, in terms of how do you actually get to each one of this, we use frameworks. There's different frameworks in the market. There's lots and lots of them. And what you can do is you can look at the best one that suits your business. And you don't also need to look at one, but you can look at a combination of some of those frameworks. I've spoken about the balance scorecard. We also have the PESTEL method. You also do your SWOT analysis. And the SWOT analysis, you will also use it when you determine your unique selling proposition. And also when you want to identify what are the initiatives or the goals that you want to implement in your business. And the other one is the Potter's 5 forces. And those helps you as well in analyzing the competitive market. Or the environment that you are operating in. So there's quite a few of the frameworks that you can use. So here I have a template that I've developed in terms of a one-page strategy. Exactly what we spoke about in the last 45 minutes. All of that, what you would have done should be, this should be the output of your balance, of your strategy. First one, we spoke about the vision, where the business is going, what would like to the headlines of the newspaper article to be. Next is your mission, what is the purpose, and why are we doing what we're doing? And then you move from there, you go to the right, you say, how are we going to behave in order to achieve our results? So you have already dealt with your foundation, the foundation of your strategy. Then you come and you identify priorities, which is what is important from a strategic point of view. And you look at, you name 1 or 2 from finance performance, from customers, operations, and people. So you're going to list your priorities there. And for each priority, you need to have a goal. You can't have a priority that doesn't have a goal and an action and a measure, how you are going to measure it. So all of them, they go together. So if you've got one in terms of financial performance, as I indicated before, that we want to do fundraising, what could be the goals? You do that, or have funding, what would be the goals you're going to do fundraising? What action are you going to do? Apply to 5, 10 or whatever, or if you know that your business is not funding ready, what are the actions that you are going to do to make your business funding ready so that you can fulfill that priority of raising finance? And if it's a measure, you can say we want to raise funding within the next 12 months. We need to be funding ready within 6 months. And this is how much we want to raise for funding. You do that per each one of the balance scorecard attributes. And then at the end, you are going to come back and say, what is my competitive advantage? What am I best at? What am I solving? Why do my customers want to come to me? Just make sure that you need to provide your customers with a benefit that can also be quantifiable. So when we talk about quantifiable, if you say our turnaround time is 5 days, whilst the other competitors are 7 days, that's what your customers want to also see, that we service our customers efficiently by having this and this and that in terms of the time that you need to put in there. Lastly, your strategy is not effective if it's not implemented. You can do it every year, but for as long as you don't implement, it's as good as it not working. I've done that for many years in my business, and until I changed, that was a year ago, until I changed how I was doing things within the business, I ended up understanding what are the bottlenecks in my business. I ended up understanding why am I not growing? What are the things that I need to implement? Because imagine if you just do a strategy, but you don't have an implementation plan. Today you touch on this, tomorrow there's the next day on this. So you don't even have a clear program of what you want to do. So, and this one-page strategy, as I said, you take it, you post it in an area where everyone will be able to see it. And on a regular basis, everyone will understand that this is what we want to achieve. So for those that are here this afternoon, the template, this template is going to be available after this session. It's going to be available on our YouTube channel. So you are most welcome to download it and use it. And for anyone who would like to get more understanding or who would like to engage us in assisting them to actually craft theirs, you are most welcome to go to our website, and there's my telephone number, there's my my calendar as well. You can also get some questions. You can also post some questions, and those who are lucky, they will also get some books depending on the book that we are offering, that we are giving for this month. So that is what we have for you this afternoon. I'm going to ask that, Joy, you probably allow people to ask 1 or 2 questions. For those that have got questions, I only have 4 minutes to respond to the questions if possible. Okay. I don't think Joy allowed the question and answer thing, but be as it may, you are most welcome, as I said, to send us questions, and you can visit our website to go and get more details about MMCP and our offering. And I would like to thank you again for the time that you have spent that you have taken this afternoon to attend the session. I know strategy development can be very painful for some people, but for some, it's just a walk in the park. And I'm wishing you all of the best as you will be crafting your strategy for 2024. I see there's a question in the chat. And one of the questions says, Ernest says, is the balance scorecard being used practically? Yes, it's being used. This morning, as I said this morning, I was sitting in a board meeting, and that's how we do our reporting. And the company has been doing that for many, many years. And that the balance scorecard, if you look at it, it's got only 4 aspects. It allows you to have a focused view in terms of what you want to implement and what you want to achieve. Yes, it's being used. Um, uh, Somebody is typing here. Okay, thank you, Ernest. Um, Thank you again. It says Octomate. I assume I can't remember who's at Octomate, but thank you very much for joining us for this afternoon. And I'm hoping to see you again next year as we start our sessions again on how to grow your business and how to increase the value of your business. Be on the lookout for those invitations. Thank you again, and don't forget to like our or to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you will be able to get some of the webinars that we will be having in 2024. Thank you very much, and bye-bye. Yeah, enjoy your holidays and come back safe.